X-Man was on with Joe Rose. And and by the way, I heard the interview. I love how Joe painted the whole question to X about how Chris Greer was, there the door is open. All that. And really, Chris Greer didn't show any kind of emotion because he never does. And he kind of like politely kept the door open. But see, here's the problem with this whole situation. And I love Joe, and I got nothing against other media members and all that, but I'm going to call shit like I see it. Okay. There was no reason for Joe or anybody else to act dramatic about, leaving the door open. Look, I'm sorry if some of you out there lack common sense, but I told you the door was closed already. Okay. There was no door open. There was never any door open. Hell, I told you X would be cut 2 years from now. Did you see the quotes? Did you see the quotes? Did you see the interview? Huh? Sean? Did you see the quotes? You see the interview? Huh? You didn't? Okay. I know you're getting entertained. So here's the quotes. Okay, I'm gonna play or not play. I'm going to read the quotes for you because to me I find it freaking hilarious, right? Because he answers it and he tells you exactly right. First of all, about the door being closed. That door is closed. I'm sorry. I did not hear that at all, but I know that that door is closed though. So, last week Greer said we're going to stay in communication as the process goes and see what happens. And we left the door open for him possibly coming back here too. Three magical words, right? Right? I get that maybe some people out there, fans, and maybe even some of the media haven't gotten this and they haven't understood. Maybe they need to listen more to our show. But you know how the game is played here, right? We've talked about this already, right? We've deciphered everything that goes on here. So when Howard was headed into the third year of his 5-year extension he signed in 22 after the guarantees of his salary ran out, that factor is why Howard said he wasn't surprised he was released. Listen. Yeah, I was thinking it could happen in this business. You know how it goes. You feel it. I've been here 8 years and I've seen the business side of it so many times. And I knew how it was planned out. And me and my agent talked about it before we signed our last deal, that's how it was going to happen. And it ended up happening. And I wasn't surprised at all. So Howard and David Cantor, his agent, know that he was going to get cut after this offseason. I knew he was going to get cut after this offseason 2 years ago, but yet let's act surprised in the media. And the whole thing about leaving the door open, that's what Chris Greer says to everybody. So why are we going to, make it sound like, and I get it. I don't think my man Joe and maybe Chris, I don't know. I'm not in Chris's ear or anything, but obviously they don't get along or something. But all I have to do is read the tea leaves and see what goes on. And Chris Greer is not a confrontational person. He's not going to. Have you ever heard him slam a player? He doesn't do that. He's not going to slam anybody. He's not going to negotiate in public. He's not going to give you anything. So he never made it like, oh my God, arms are wide open. He says the same company line he says about everybody else, including Christian Wilkins. So the door was closed on X. That's it. They gave him the deal, and time's run out. It's over. Unfortunately, you got to move on. And in their case, it was more than time to move on. They actually hung on too long to him, to be quite honest. Let's just call it like we see it. But I get it. They were trying to make a run, so it's understandable. But X, come on, man. It's no surprise here, and nobody was really keeping the door open or anything like that. That's a company line. Let's 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 all, let's not be naive or let's not create some sensationalistic thing that really doesn't exist. Okay? Because then you spin it to make someone look bad. And there's no reason. This was the business. It was done, the deal was over, and you move on. With Wilkins, that relationship was over last year. When he had to play this last year on 1 year salary, it was over for him. And he was not happy that he did not get paid last year. Okay? Christian Wilkins wants to move on. He's not going to tell you that because that's not who he is either. And the Dolphins aren't going to tell you, yeah, we don't think his value is that money that he wants. They're not going to tell you that. They're just going to, oh, well, we tried. We were close. We couldn't work out a deal. Because they're not going to trash people. What do you gain from that? You don't gain anything from that. But it's great for people in the media because now you can use that and then sensationalize it one way or the other. Instead of just, hey, have you noticed this trend? This is how he approaches all these things. You know, we're the ones that told you about that 2-year contract trend, right? And again, here's Jonnu Smith signing a 2-year special, right? So it's just kind of like, just watch what goes on. Don't listen. Watch what they do. Don't listen to what they say. What they do is exactly what you need to know. And it's there every single time. The example is there over and over again. Doors open, always a very cordial way of approaching things. All of that. Why? Because it's not good business to air your business.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.